Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows around world football this weekend. You know the score by now. The first winner was suggested by Cathal Murray on Twitter, and he says, Paul Pogba. Why?
Pog back. And back in a big way, baby, spearheading Manchester United to their 6th victory of the season at home out of 6 games. That's 19 goals scored, only the 1 conceded, which was, of course, Dwight Gale's goal.
Victor Lindelof.
As he sneaked in ahead of Victor. Bambi on ice.
You there, mate? Victor, hello.
Victor. Oh. Anyway, the Red Devils have now scored 4 goals in 4 of the 6 Premier League games they've played at Old Trafford this season, and finally lined up with Martial, Rashford and Lukaku in that front 3. Lukaku got his first goal in 8 games for the club, but did grab 3 goals for his country over the international break, so maybe that helped to build a bit of momentum coming back into this. A bad sign for everyone else. And Martial, his incredible output comparative to the small amount of time he's played continues. 746 minutes, 7 goals and 4 assists. Woo! The guy is involved in a goal every 67 minutes.
Talk to me, Tony.
And Rashford, that's 3 goals and 4 assists as well in 9 Premier League starts, and he's becoming Manchester United's Mr. Reliable, isn't he?
Yes.
He's never injured.
Never ever.
He's been involved in 100 of Manchester United's last 102 squads.
Incredible.
But one person who has been injured and did make a big impression when he came back was the Frenchman.
Yes, it was Paul Pogba, who has, of course, missed 12 games with that quadricep injury. What on earth happened there? Unbelievably, he's actually only played 5 games in all competitions for us so far this season, and he has been a massive miss. We are so much better with him. With Pogba, per 90, we're creating 15 chances a game. We're scoring 3.8 goals with Pogba in the team per game. Without Pogba, 7 chances and 1.6 goals. This is a massive, massive player for Man United. In the league, he's played 429 minutes, a tiny amount, but he's got 3 goals, 3 assists. That's a goal involvement every 71 minutes. Now, I don't want to compare him to Kevin De Bruyne, because Kevin De Bruyne is a better footballer than Paul Pogba. But De Bruyne has 6 goals, 3 assists, and is involved every 113 minutes. So
what you're saying there is they're both the fulcrum of their sides.
Both the key men in their teams, although Kevin De Bruyne this season, what a player. Premier League Player of the Year,
What
surely.
an absolute howitzer as well against Leicester.
That's left foot, mamma mia. Hopefully Paul Pogba can get to his level soon, but he is so key to Manchester United. And also, great to see the return of Zlatan Ibrahimovic out for 216 days with a torn ACL. Coming out after the game saying, Lions don't recover like humans.
What about that little scissor?
I know, what's he thinking? You got a torn ACL, relax, Zlatan. You don't need to be doing it when we're falling out.
Straight in the deep end.
Just calm down. But yeah, lovely to see you back, Paul. You're our first winner.
We go over to North London now for our next loser, and Faplin number 2 has said that, you know what, Pochettino, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing, Posh? I'll tell you what you're doing. You're losing 2-0 at the Emirates to Arsenal. It's not a massive surprise, though, because the Gunners' home form has been absolutely scintillating this season. They might not have any atmosphere, but they do have wins. They've won 11 of their last 11 Premier League games. That's their 2nd best ever run in Premier League history, which is really impressive. Really, really good stuff from Wenger. And his home record against Tottenham Hotspur is even better. 25 games, 17 wins, 7 draws, just the 1 loss. I'll let that fester with Tottenham fans, because that is an unbelievable record, as good as you're going to find across the land of England. Doesn't really make sense, but whatever. Lacazette, Ozil and Sanchez as well. Thank God they're finally starting as a 3. We talked about the Man United front 3. Let's talk about this one as well, because it's only the 2nd time they've started in the same match all together. Mesut Ozil, great performance. All over the place, drifting into brilliant pockets that Tottenham just couldn't pick up. Eric Dyer had an absolute nightmare against him. He was phenomenal on the day, and no wonder. He's created 34 chances so far this season for his teammates. That's the most of any player in the Premier League. The likes of Lacazette lapping it up. 4 goals, 1 assist in his first 6 Premier League games at the Emirates. They'll be happy with that output. Alexis Sanchez, though, moaned at by the Arsenal fans over the weekend, because he was moaning himself. A little bit of moanception going on. Hasn't been in the best vein of form. His first goal in 11 games against the Big Six. He'll be hoping to bounce back when he joins Manchester City in January, probably. If it happens, it's definitely happening. But yes, a great day for Arsenal, but a terrible day for Tottenham Hotspur. It continues their poor form.
Talking of bouncing back, did you see his wee belly slide?
I did. I quite like that. That's quite nice.
Cute, isn't it? Endearing. Ooh. But anyway, yeah. Tottenham have now lost 3 Premier League games in 17-18. They only lost 4 in the entirety of last season, and that wasn't good enough to win the title. So you'd imagine already the wheels have come off that title charge that Spurs fans were gearing themselves up for. Pochettino has now lost 4 of the last 6 London derbies as well. He only lost 3 of his previous 18.
Not good
and
enough.
His record against the Big Six away from home for Spurs doesn't make for pretty reading either. Only 1 win in his last 17.
Oh, it's worse than Jose.
I think 7 draws in there and the rest losses.
Not good.
But Hugo Lloris, poor old Hugo Lloris, and this is indicative of a wider team problem on the road. But he's never kept an away clean sheet against the so-called top teams in the Premier League.
That's not good enough.
And he's conceded 56 goals in just 24 matches. That's 2.3 goals a game.
Yeah, not good enough.
Doesn't exactly bode well when you want to progress into title contenders, does it? And they did miss Toby Alderweireld big time in this game. His ability to break the lines with that passing often means that Spurs, if someone applies the counter press, they can break out of that because Toby Alderweireld can thread, balls through the eye of a needle.
100%.
But saying that, Davinson Sanchez, who was deputised on that right-hand side, was very, very good. Yeah. Not a foul for the first
Never
goal.
a foul in a million years.
We should state that. A brilliant tackle, and he probably didn't deserve to be on the losing side. Even at the very end, in the dying embers of the game, he somehow managed to get back when Sanchez was through one-on-one, didn't he? And come across him and sort of just take the venom out of that attack. But yes, when Harry Kane's struggling, which he was yesterday, he had his thigh strapped up, didn't he?
Just not
you know it's perhaps not going to be the greatest day at the office, and he's now got no goals in 7 of his last 9 London Premier League derbies. That's London, not North London. Because up until Sunday, was it?
I'm not
Saturday?
Sure. Oh, the game was on Saturday morning, yes.
Up until Saturday, he'd scored in every one of his North London derbies that he'd started in. So, which is a pretty phenomenal record, and one that he's now surrendered. But let's hope he gets back to full fitness soon. Where do you think Tottenham are going to finish, guys? Let us know in the comments below.
Our next winner, another suggestion on Twitter from Ivanenov. He says, Eden Hazard. Why?
Because he was in superb form yet again in Chelsea's 4-0 demolition of West Brom at the Hawthorns on Saturday in the Black Country. 2 goals, 1 assist as Chelsea heaps more pressure on a seemingly doomed Tony Pulis. He's probably got the chop already.
Yeah,
with
maybe.
in the morning, goes out in the afternoon. He could be gone already, as I said. Yes, but the Belgian has now scored 5 goals in his last 6 games for the Blues, and in his 9 league appearances this season, he's got 5 goals, 2 assists, and his shot accuracy is a staggering 76%. To give you some context, Messi's is 57%. Dybala's 56%.
Context.
We only compare, shot accuracy to that of Argentinians, apparently.
Yes.
But anyway, since their shock defeat to Palace last month, Chelsea have now won 4 on the bounce. It's a trend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of Antonio Conte's.
Bounce back ability.
Seemingly getting the sack.
Yep.
Everything's going wrong. His players are injured. And then they go on a little run of form. Long may it continue. They're now up to 3rd, only 1 point behind Manchester United. And it wasn't many weeks ago we were saying that this is the best start to a Premier League campaign Manchester United have ever had.
I know.
And now, lo and behold, Chelsea are only a point behind. But yeah, it was obvious on the offset this was going to go their way. They dominated proceedings, 61% possession, 11 shots versus 7. 7 shots on target to West Brom's paltry 2.
Yeah, Conte is going to be a happy manager, isn't it? That was his 50th Chelsea managerial appearance, I suppose you'd call it. What would you call it? Game in charge. Yeah, 50th game in charge for Chelsea. Yeah. He's taken 118 points in that time. That's the most of any Premier League manager over the same period. But on the other bench, Tony Pulis and West Brom will not be happy. They have an awful record against Chelsea anyway. 17 losses in 22 games. Really not good enough. But Pulis himself won't be happy. Like you said, probably will have had the chop by the time this video goes live, although he might still be hanging on. But he's got a crisis talk meeting with the board today.
Did you see some of the defending? It was such
criminal,
an
mate.
Tony Pulis-like team performance.
Yeah.
Just allowing Marcus Alonso in at the back post.
100%.
Unmarked. Pulis would have been sick in his hat.
Awful, and like you said,
that.
very much an un-Pulis type performance. This was his joint heaviest ever Premier League defeat. He only lost one other time, 4-0, and that was to Manchester City with Stoke. So he'll be pretty disappointed. In fact, the trouble is, West Brom's record is woeful this season. They're now 10 games without a win, which you just can't do in the Premier League at the moment, can you? He'll probably be out of a job, but Conte rolls on. Eden Hazard in fine form. They head to Azerbaijan to play carry a bag on Wednesday, don't they? The boys from Tesco. Probably get a win there. Next up for the Baggies, though, is a trip to Wembley to play Spurs. So that'll probably be a non-Pulis West Brom, in my opinion.
I mean, who could they get? Who's better than Tony Pulis out there?
I don't know. I really don't know. Sam Allardyce to get that job. Nailed on.
Yeah, fair. Our next losers come from Sam Papas, and I'm sorry to say, Joseph, it's Moisey again.
You got the job on the recommendation of two dildo brothers. Oh dear, yes, West Ham lost 2-0 on David Moyes' debut and his 500th Premier League game away to a tough Watford team, in fairness. Watford have been very good this season, but they haven't been good at home. It's only their second win in 6 attempts, so Moyes will be disappointed. All of the talk going into this game was about, we've been double sessions, sprint training, like you said before we started shooting this, so probably stealing one of your stats. But nevertheless, West Ham are bottom of the Premier League for sprints and distance covered. So Watford will be pretty happy with that. Pretty easy day at the office. Their only real attacking threat, Marko Arnautovic, 4 shots. Did he break his wrist in this one?
His thumb.
He broke his thumb, so he's probably injured. Twice as many as the likes of Carroll, who is effectively a joke on the pitch at this stage. I watched the highlight reel of Andy Carroll yesterday. Full-scale donkey. He's gone full-scale nativity, mate. He's wheeling Jesus in.
Never go full donkey.
No, he's gone full donkey. And Lanzini as well. I was expecting more from Lanzini this season. I think he was creating about 3.2 chances per 90 last season. This season, way down. The joint highest amount of goals now that West Ham have conceded as well. Their defence is exceptionally suspect. And Joe Hart, not good enough. After 12 games, the joint highest ever. The only other time they've conceded this many goals was in 2011-12, I think, when they got relegated. Whenever they got relegated, I think it was 2011-12, but don't hold me to it. Hampster, Watford, though, positives for them again.
Yeah, 2 youngsters spearheading the attack. Marco Silva put his faith in them, and they repaid him in full. Will Hughes opening the goal scoring with his first ever shot for the club.
Yeah, big up with him.
That's quality. He also grabbed an assist in just his 3rd appearance. Obviously, he was earmarked as like a prodigious talent, wasn't he? Whilst at Derby. There was rumours that Barcelona had a
Liverpool
thick dossier on him. Now he's starting to display a bit of form that maybe justified that reputation way back when. Richarlison as well, he put the 2nd away, his 7th goal involvement of the season, but his 1st goal at home.
Really?
Yeah.
Watford's home
record. Well, Watford
have
been impressive on the road.
Yeah.
But I think they've drawn with Liverpool at home, 3-3. They've lost to Stoke, so not great, but yeah. Although, saying that, West Ham did have their chances. West Ham had 6 shots on target. Watford only managed 7, with Aurelio Gomes making 5 saves as well. One absolute stone-cold stunner from Marko Arnautovic before he
buggered the thumb.
Didn't bugger it, that's, yeah. Anyway, despite Moyes' call to arms, Watford out-passed, out-tackled the Hammers, and the away side lost the ball 19 times. So, obviously, his inspirational team talk and double sessions didn't pay dividends.
And don't forget the hiring of Stuart Pearce. If ever there's a man to galvanise you, it's the man that puts England out.
He's done more betting adverts in the last 5 years than like
Moise
than he has been involved with football. So that the mind does boggle. But West Ham did play more long balls than Watford. So double sessions and long balls and Stuart Pearce. Yeah, they're getting relegated, aren't they?
Our final winner of the day comes from a regular contributor on Twitter. It's Swagato Sarkar99. Big up yourself, Swagato. He says, Mohamed Salah.
Yes! The Pharaoh. The King of Egypt. Lord of the Nile. scored a double as Liverpool comprehensively beat Southampton 3-0 at Anfield, described by Jurgen Klopp as the perfect day. I bet he went home, put his lederhosen on, had a curried bratwurst and got Steiner off his German. Anyway, Liverpool took Southampton to the cleaners. I don't know what German for cleaners is, but they did. 61% possession, 21 shots versus 5, 8 on target versus 0. I think there'll be a lot of Southampton fans that will be thinking, wow, maybe Claude Puel wasn't the problem. Because if anything, they're more ineffective going forward. But yes, Mohamed Salah now has 9 Premier League goals, the most of any Liverpool player after 12 games, beating Robbie Fowler's tally of 8. That is unbelievable, considering at the start of the season, he looked like one of those players who would need 10 shots on target to score 1 goal. Very true. I think that was also, his reputation was also a little bit like that at Roma, where he had an incredible season last season. But clinical, decisive, love it. His first one was a beauty. Yeah, it was. Absolute Pearlsville, USA. But yeah, he now has 14 goals in all competitions for Liverpool, as well as 2 assists, averaging a goal every 102 minutes. He's been their Mr. Consistency this season, hasn't he? And they needed it, because Coutinho's not been scoring, has he? In fact, I think he got his first goal this game.
Thank God, because he's in my fantasy team. Where have you been, Philippe?
Well done. But yes, Mohamed Salah has now been involved in 14 goals in his last 15 appearances for the Reds. And as I just said, haven't read the script yet, Coutinho got the other goal and a beautiful assist. He now has 31 Premier League assists for the Reds, 3rd on LFC's all-time list behind McManaman and Gerrard. Gerrard got 92.
Long way to go.
He's not overtaking that anytime soon, is he? And the Reds have conceded just 1 goal in their last 8 games, shoring up at the back after everyone hammered them about how bad their defence was, keeping 7 clean sheets in the process. That's gone quietly unnoticed, hasn't it? Yeah. They remain 5th, but only 4 points off United in 2nd. Considering that awful run of form they had, again, what have United been doing?
What have United been doing? What have Southampton been doing more? Like, this was not a happy return to Anfield for ex-player, I didn't realise it, and ex-assistant manager Mauricio Pellegrino. This is the first time they failed to record a shot on target since May, a long time ago. It's just not good enough going forward on all counts for Southampton, isn't it? They're still one of only 5 teams in single figures of goals. They've only scored 9 so far this season. Obviously, Puel, like you hinted at earlier, was sacked for a lack of attacking threat. What on earth is this then under Pellegrino? He is surely a contender for next to be sacked after Tony Pulis. Maybe. Not really good enough. Alongside Mark Hughes as well. Mark Hughes could well get the chop fairly soon. Their goal tally of 9 is actually the fewest they've ever recorded after 12 games. Not ever, going all the way back, to 1998. A long, long time ago. Years. Really not good enough going forward. They should have signed a striker in the summer. I think we all knew that anyway. Far too reliant on Manolo Gabbiadini, and he couldn't hit a barn door at the moment, so goodness knows they're going to have to sign one in January. They play Everton on Sunday, another struggling side, I think it's fair to say, so that is a must-win. That is an absolute must-win for Pellegrino, otherwise he could well get the chop. Whereas Liverpool, they travel to Sevilla in the Champions League on a much better note, and a win would send them through, because they then have Chelsea at Anfield, a massive game, looking forward to that one. But what do you think of Mo Salah? Can he be the Premier League's top goal scorer this season? He could well be, but in the poll, up there.
Our last loser comes from Schmied1, and he's put Borussia Dortmund in there because they lost them, my precious.
Yes, they did. Their BVB's woes continued. They slumped to a 2-1 away loss to Stuttgart on Friday, meaning they've actually lost 3 consecutive Bundesliga matches. If they lose to Schalke in the next game week, there is going to be riots at the Westfalen-Stadion. Their form is appalling. In their last 5 games, they've got the same amount of points as Cologne, who sit bottom of the table on just 2 singular points. Nowhere near good enough. And they were always going to lose when they went behind to Stuttgart here, because Stuttgart are yet to drop a single point from a leading position in 17-18. The first goal, horrendous mix-up between Bartra and Berkey. Not good enough from Borussia Dortmund at the back. As a result, Dortmund have now conceded 14 goals in the first 5 Bundesliga games. For the first time since 1991. That is just not good enough from Peter Bosz's side, despite the fact that if you looked at the XG charts, they might be slightly aggrieved with the loss. They have 1.96 XG, so effectively the score would have been 2-1 if you looked at expected goals, but it wasn't. And Stuttgart took it home. But Dortmund were missing key men, weren't they?
Yeah, and this defensive collapse has been almost impressive given how watertight they were at the start of the season. I think they only conceded 1 goal in their first 8.
Now 14-5.
Now 14-5. What has happened there? But as you said, they were missing Aubameyang. That really hurt their chances of scoring those vital goals. Schürrle replaced him up top. He had 5 attempts on goal, but failed to put one in the back of the net. And he's had a pretty underwhelming spell since joining from Wolfsburg, hasn't he, the former Chelsea man. Dortmund now sit 5th, 9 points behind Bayern.
Not good enough. Not good enough.
9 points behind Bayern. There was a point at the start of the season when they were that margin ahead. Yeah. Or maybe 6, you know. Whatever. Big win for Stuttgart though. Their 500th home win. There's a nugget of knowledge for you. Their 500th home win in the Bundesliga. I mean, it's not going to be anywhere else, is it? Maybe in Europe, that'd be crazy. And now they're just 4 points behind Dortmund. Hans Wolf, Stuttgart's manager, actually managed Dortmund's reserve team from 2010 to 2016 as well.
Nuggets.
Dortmund produced a lot of good young managers that, you know, they've sent out. Was it
dispersed?
Wagner?
I don't know.
David Wagner?
I think he might have, but was just dispersed, isn't it, at the moment?
Maybe I should have clarified that before I brought it up.
James is nodding. James is nodding.
Moving on, James is nodding. We are points in the bag. But Peter Bosz is a man under pressure now. The way he sets out his defence makes bloody Thomas Tuchel look like a defensively minded manager, doesn't it?
He does.
Current. And the next 4 fixtures don't get any easier for the ex-Ajax boss. He's got Spurs at home in the Champions League. Ooh. And then he's got Schalke at home in the Bundesliga. Then he's got Leverkusen. What are they? Are they doing bits these days?
Don't have a clue.
Good squad. Not sure who's managing them now. I think it is their old reserve team manager anyway. Real Madrid away from home finishes that off.
He's
getting still have a job by Christmas?
No.
Bundesliga fans, let us know in the comments below.
Now I know we said we'd finished our winners, but we have one more. It's EFD.
Come on!
Because they beat FD in this week's matchup 5-3. Mainly thanks to Luca Nichols, who scored an absolute blockbuster free kick and was the best player on the pitch by a mile. And John Babb, who is possibly the worst official I've ever seen on a football pitch.
Hold your tongue. I will not say a bad word about John Babb.
Play that penalty decision.
What I will say is the referee was a disgrace. But yeah, you were pointing fingers in your post-match interview. I was less than impressed, bitter, didn't attribute any of the failings
to yourself. Suck it on them lemons.
Typical Tomlinson.
Yep.
But EFD were more than the sum of their parts.
They were very good performance. Where can they watch it though?
Over on FD. Duh.
Yes.
Not over on FD. This is on FD.
This FD
Here
channel.
on FD. Enjoy the slow-mos. Let's go into the M board.
Link in the description below, probably. Please, Temps.
Champions.
We're out of time on winners and losers, but don't go anywhere. Actually, do go somewhere. EFD, Star Wars the champions, the final, the grudge match.
Yeah.
Hamster versus Van Straten in the battle of the rigged finals.
Who'd have thought it? We won at our own game. You'd
rigged.
imagine I'd be less pleased with myself, but I'm not. I'm glad I got to the final. I'm glad you didn't. I think I speak for everyone when I say I'm glad that you weren't there. Because if you'd won it, you'd have been insufferable.
Yeah.
But
who did
go and watch the final. I'm not going to tell you. What I will tell you is that Adam Templeman released it at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, little sneak preview for our American fans there.
Pointing fingers.
Well, it wasn't it? Social guy. Idiots.